Oh, maybe if we do that. How about now, Scott?
Yep, I got you guys.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh! You know, I'll be honest with you. I've never broadcasted with Skype on a radio program, so I have no idea what I'm doing.
I could not tell that, Artie.
I'm just poking buttons until something happens.
Yeah, I could tell that.
That's the story of my life. That's actually very symbolic of a very strong statement, very symbolic statement of my life. I just keep on poking buttons until something happens.
I think it's the American way.
I think so too.
Scotty, last week we're talking about a smart sprinkler control box, and I knew how to pronounce it, but Artie didn't. And we had a little dispute, and so we brought you on board. So have at it.
Well, I know how to run it. I just don't know how to pronounce it properly.
Rushero.
I thought tell us about it and how some of the features and so on.
Yeah. So the reason I looked into it is one of the guys I work with. He bought a new house and he'd run across a website called Utah Water Savers, and Utah Water Savers offers a rebate. If you go to utahwatersavers.com, there's in fact it has a couple of rebates. It has one for toilet replacements, one because there's a $30 rebate on it because it's normally $230. And
so that rebate's right from Costco, right?
I mean, I always wanted not to run to. What's that?
I say that rebate is from Costco itself.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I don't know if it's global, but it definitely you can get it at Costco. It comes. They have it off the price at Costco. Yeah.
Okay, so it's either from Costco or from the manufacturer itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And installed it. It was pretty easy. I just took off my old one, plugged in this new one. It had a couple quick mounting holes, templates, and you just put it in there, and then it starts asking you questions. You connect it with your phone, and you download their app, and it teaches you how to get it connected. And then it starts asking you about your zone. It says, "Okay, let's go test zone one. Is zone one on?" And you basically say yes or no, and zone two, and so on. And then it goes into the next part and it says, "Okay, what is zone one? Is zone one a garden? Is it grass? Is it, whatever?" And then it asks you the soil type. And then if it's grass, it asks you, what's the slope on it? Is it a steep slope, a medium slope, or flat? And then it sets up the zone for appropriate soil type and the appropriate slope, so that if you're on a slope, you don't get a ton of runoff going down the driveway or down the road. You get it on the lawn. And as you guys know, it's been rainy here in Salt Lake. The other thing it does for us is you drive by everybody else's house and the sprinklers are running and the rain is falling really hard. It makes you look kind of like a kind of very smart. So it connects with the weather service, and mine is always off if it's raining, so it's kind of nice.
So it doesn't sense the water and the soil per se, but it goes by the weather service.
Well, you can buy additional sensors that you can place in various spots in your yard, and they'll relay back information back to it, so you can get more accurate information. But if you don't do that, it just looks at your weather service. Yeah.
Well, the sensors it puts in your lawn garden and that is that a Wi-Fi thing, or do you have to run wire?
There are two kinds. Yeah, I think there's some wired ones, and there's also some wireless with. There's a rain gauge that you can get that's wired, so you put that on your house somewhere, and it will tell how much rain's fallen in the last little while. And there's also moisture sensors you can place in the lawn.
In this day and age, and especially down here in St. George with the water situation being what it is, this really sounds pretty neat to me.
They claim that it can save, that the reason they're paying people to put these in is I think it can save, over 50% of your water. And here in Salt Lake, even, we have a lot of lawns. One of the biggest water uses is watering lawn. And most people overwater is what they claim.
I think that's true because how do you know? That's the issue. Depending on the humidity, depending on whether the sun is out or not, depending on what time of the day you're watering, how do you know what is enough? And you're guessing.
Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to point out that if you go to several blogs, if you search smart sprinkler controllers on the web, you'll see 2019 best guides. There's one that I liked, two of them. One's from techhive.com, and they list, the top ones. And that's where I did my research. I looked Rossio 3, which is the one that I ended up purchasing. And then there's an Orbit one, and it's quite a bit cheaper. It's $99, 6 zone instead of the 12 zone.
Uh-oh.
That sound is to indicate that we need to stop talking and go to a phone call.
Oh, really?
Scott, that was rude of me. I'm sorry.
Go.
Okay. Oops. I guess not. Okay. False alarm. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Hey, you're on Radio Dixie 91.3. Which station are we on?
100.3.
Oh, we're on Radio St. George 100.3.
Hi, this is Lawn Chair Lady.
Oh, Lawn Chair Lady.
Yes. Lost my binoculars, but your face your Facebook broadcast. It's going on and off. And so it keeps saying it's been paused or interrupted, and then sometimes it comes on. So I'd let you know, and I'll see you at the lawn later.
Oh yeah, it's my next door neighbor, my lawn chair lady.
Okay, this is Edna signing out.
And you know what? I think I actually figured out what to do. Let me hit
to the lawn chair lady or to the computer.
The computer, both. Oh, there we go. I think we got it now. This is my first time using Skype.
List,
all right, I feel stupid.
The top ones, and that's where.
All right, well, thank you, lawn chair lady, for calling in and letting us know that information. All right, so
this is my first time.
That sound means that you can continue talking. All right, well, thank you, lawn chair lady, for calling in and letting us know that information. All right, so that sound means that you can continue talking. All right, well, thank you, lawn chair lady, for calling in and letting us know that information. All right, so
but what feature
that sound
first of all, it's limited.
All right, well, thank you, lawn chair lady, for calling in and letting us know that information. All right, so
but what feature
that sound
first of all, it's limited.
All right, well, thank you, lawn chair lady, for calling in and letting us know that information. All right, so
you may have 12 zones, but there's only 3 programs.
Yeah, that's how mine is. It's 9 zones, but it only has.
All right, so
and
that sounds.
You
would think 3 would be fine, but yeah, that's how mine is. It's not down here. 9 zones, but it only has.
All right, so
raised garden. And that sounds another lawn and another garden of flowers and another.
Yeah, for sure.
The more you can dial it down to the details, the better off you are.
Yeah, I think you'll waste a lot less water.
Be fine. Yeah, that's how mine is. It's not down here. 9 zones. I'm actually going to look at it.
All right.
I have a raised garden. And that sounds like a lawn and another financially secure garden of flowers. And my birthday's coming, so I might,
Yeah, for sure.
The more you can dial it down to the details, the better off you are.
Probably, I think you'll waste a lot less water.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's Well, so tell me, Scott, you've had this for how long in your yard?
I think it's been 3 weeks now. So unfortunately, that's probably not enough time because it's always been raining. So it's been off a lot. That's one thing that's kind of been interesting is it's I think it's only run about 6 times in the last 3 weeks.
So you just got it put in. I thought you'd had this for a while.
No, I just got it this spring because, like I said, one of the guys at work, he bought a new house and he found out about this. And so I ran over into Costco and grabbed one.
So did you to do anything other than just
that's probably
move
not
the
enough time
wires from
because
the
it's
old
always
one
been
to the
raining,
new
so
one?
it's been off a lot.
Nope,
that's one
that
thing
was
that's
all
kind of been interesting is
pretty simple.
Okay, so you didn't have
I think it's only
to change anything other than that.
Punch a few holes in the drywall in the garage because it has a different mounting pattern, but that was
it, huh?
most difficult part. Yeah.
Oh, that really sounds pretty good. It really does. Now, on the app on your smartphone, can you do it?
Yeah.
Can you control it? Let's say you're in St. George and you're going home, and you, I guess if it's automated, it's going to turn the sprinklers on and off when they need to be anyway. You don't really have to do it from the phone, but can you change the programming from the phone no matter where you are?
Yeah, anywhere in the world, I can go in and change. I can actually turn them on at any point. Like if say somebody or my sprinkler repair guy was coming over, he could tell me I could be in, Europe, and he could say hit zone 1, and I could turn on zone 1 anywhere I was at. So,
wow.
It also lets me know. It gives me a warning that it's going to turn on too. So it sends me a push notification, and it says, hey, we're going to run your garden for 18 minutes. And in the drywall. It kind of goes from there because it has a different mounting.
It actually varies every day according to the weather and temperature.
Sprinkler repair guy was coming over.
So on.
Yep.
So if it's 12 minutes today on the lawn, it necessarily won't be 12 minutes tomorrow.
Correct. I mean, it seems on my drip, it kind of stays consistent. It chose, I told it about my drip system, and then it chose to do 18 minutes a day. And it asked me a time when I wanted to run that. And then, so it lets me set up quite a bit. And I can override it at any time. If I know better than their algorithms, then I can have fine-grained control over any aspect, when it runs, how long, how many times a day, all that stuff.
So that's on your drip system, right? You said
any of those, yeah. On my drip, it runs 18 minutes a day. I think
that sounds like quite a bit, but on a drip system, the volume of water is a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then on my lawn, on my hilly lawn, it chooses to run like 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I can't remember. In the morning, and then it runs a little bit later after it runs another zone, and so it watches the hill so that it runs shorter amounts of time there and then comes back.
So that it soaks in between.
Yeah, my old one used to have water running down the sidewalk, off the hill, and I haven't seen that happen. So now it doesn't seem to have quite as much water running down the road.
Now, do you choose the time of day that it starts? Like with mine starts at 5 a.m. to run those things because, that's the time you don't have evaporation and that. Do you choose a time on that, or does it choose a time?
Well, if you want to go full automatic mode, which is what I did, because I'm not much of a yard farmer, so I just kind of let it do its thing. But you can set it to any time you want during the day. But if you just let it choose automatically, mine chose like 4 a.m. I think is what it's chosen to do.
Okay, so it apparently is set up for an earlier start.
Yep.
Because, down here...
Another nice part about that is that as the year progresses, right, the sun comes up earlier and earlier, and so it moves the programs back for you so that it hits it during the non-evaporation times.
Yeah, that's great. Because down here, with the high temperatures during the middle of the day, you certainly wouldn't want to be watering,
Yeah.
It's just, when it's 110.
Yeah. But I guess if you ever wanted to turn it on for your, kids or grandkids, you could go in and just hit the button and it'll come on at any time you want. So.
Okay. How about trees? Does it have do you have to have a separate zone or a separate, zone for trees?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, and it'll ask if you're trees and shrubs or if you're on the trees. I don't have a zone for my trees, but if I did, what it says it would do is it does the deep soak, less times per week,
right,
and that sort of thing. So,
if a person knew they were going to have something like this and they were going to set a system up from being a new yard, new construction, you could put everything like that on a different zone. My trees are on the same zone as in half my yard are on the same zone as the lawn, and that's not a good way to have it.
Sure, yeah. Promote deep root growth.
Right. Now, the part where I just took out the lawn and put gravel in this last winter, I've got the trees. I changed the sprinkler system so they are on a separate zone. And that's a better way to do it. But unfortunately, I think on the grandfather type of installation that was put in years ago, why we mixed those things a lot, and that would create a problem with this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it would. the incentive would be there to maybe over a period of time after you got one of these would be to try to separate the zones a little bit if you could, grass on one, garden on another, and so on.
Yeah, for sure.
So, now what would you do if you had a guy like Artie operating one of these? You think he could operate one?
Absolutely not. I can barely run this radio station. I don't even know if we're even live on Facebook.
I know.
I'm just punching all the buttons.
I noticed that you're doing that.
It's okay though.
But here's the thing: the test they give you if you buy one of these, you have to be able to say the name.
Oh, Russia, bro.
Yeah.
Rashamado. Yeah.
But I think that's one of the advantages of this, because when you try to do the older sprinkler timers and they have all these weird switches and you have a 18-page book, this sprinkler timer is for people who are not tech savvy.
Oh, that's me then, I guess.
Yeah.
It just sits and talks
guides you through everything and asks you simple questions.
I want an instruction book that's just pictures only.
And that's what this is.
Does it have anything in there about a neighbor watching you through the hedge?
None of those. No,
none of those.
So what you're saying is that the sprinkler manual, even a president of the United States could.
Oh, Artie,
you're actually
being naughty. You're being naughty.
Could actually.
No, he wouldn't be able to understand it.
I'm desperate and dying to talk about politics.
That's probably the problem.
Yeah, here he goes. He's going to jump in the pool.
I'll stay away from that topic, I guess.
No, yeah.
It's probably best.
Watch, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the point. I think that's one of the things, the biggest features of this is that it's easier than any other sprinkler system timer you've ever used.
It really sounds good. I think I'm going to get one. So you hear that, wife? I want to make sure my wife's watching or listening.
It'll save you so much on your water bill. It'll be worth it.
Yeah. My water bill. We could talk a bit about my water bill, but let's just say that July and August and September last year, it approached $150 a month.
Yeah, mine was
for just the water.
Mine was up there too.
Well, yeah, but
that's our minute break.
Oh, that's our minute break.
That's the warning.
Okay. That's kind of it's an obvious warning. I got to say that.
Well, the last couple of weeks, I'm thinking, I hate to interrupt you for the break because you have all the stimulating garden chat and all this great information, and I just felt rude, interrupting you. So
Scott, why don't you stay with us?
Okay, sounds good.
Let's do something that they do in radio and actually tease what's coming up next. You have 15 seconds.
Okay, we're going to talk about trimming deciduous shade trees.
Deciduous.
That's a $12 word.
All right. Scott, thanks for joining the show today.
He's going to stay with us.
He's going to stay with us. It's the Home and Garden Show. Radio Dixie.
Fun and Garden.
91.3, whatever. Oh boy, you get really excited when that theme song comes on.
I love it. I want to get on my horse and ride.
Man, I haven't seen anyone this excited about being on the radio.
Have you ever watched the movie with the
movie?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Monty Walsh with Tom Selleck.
No.
Oh, that's what I look like when I ride a horse. I look like Tom Selleck.
Okay. It's a fun garden show with your host, Woody, and I'm Artie, the producer, desperately trying to run this hot mess.
And we have Scott as our guest up in Northside. We're so big and so sophisticated that we have people everywhere around the United States watching things.
Now tell us who Scott is and introduce him again.
Okay, Scott is my son-in-law, and he's also a tech genius, and he has a company up in Salt Lake that he's sitting in their control room, and he's the guy that is filling us in on this high-tech sprinkler control system, Rashio. Yeah. Well, I want to talk for a minute.
Wait, let's make sure he's still with us.
Oh, is he with us? Are you there, Scott?
I'm still here, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Let us know if you can hear the chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Does the chicken have a name? We have Harvey.
We have to come up with a name.
We could call him Chicken.
No. We got to come up with a better name.
Better name? Yeah. All right. We'll work on that. I wanted to talk for a few minutes about the hot weather's coming, the hotter weather, and now is the time for you to check your gardens. My tomatoes were kind of not doing as good as I thought they should be doing. So last week I added some Miracle-Gro plant food, took it and put it in my little hose end sprayer and sprayed the soil, not the plant, but the soil. And before I went up to Salt Lake, I was up to Salt Lake for 3 days last week. And when I got home, they had started to do better. They're starting to throw out new leaves.
Now, hold on. Now, why wouldn't you spray the leaves of the plant? Because actually, that's what I did yesterday. I got out the Miracle-Gro sprayer thing, and I sprayed the whole darn thing.
Yeah, and that's okay. But with tomatoes and some plants that have a really broad leaf, subject to mildew, it's better if you can just get it in the soil and not on the plant.
Okay.
Just for the same reason that you put a bubbler instead of a sprinkler.
But it's not going to hurt anything.
No, it's not, other than bringing the mildew, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think it's a good time of the year to evaluate your garden. And if you're going to fertilize, if you're going to put lawn food or plant food on, or you're going to put some calcium in or put some manure around the base or whatever, this is the time to do it, because within 2 or 3 weeks it's going to be really hot, and fertilizing when it's hot can be risky. Okay? And the other thing that it's a good time to do is to put some compost in the tomatoes, in your gardens, and then sprinkle it in or shovel it in or whatever you want to do, but then mix it with the soil. So it's like a really, really slow fertilizer. But it's a time of year, if you're going to do that, you want to do it now. Especially if you're doing a vegetable garden, okay? So that's the story on that thing. And I recommend the plant food, but I also recommend the compost. When you buy soil from in the early spring for your raised bed gardens, and you're cheap like I am, and you go to Walmart and you buy the bags of soil for $1 or $2 a bag, in reality, it's not as good a soil as the soil that might be Miracle-Gro soil and costs $10 a bag. So as the time goes by during the season, knowing that, why you have to put in some additives, some compost and some plant food. It's just the reality of it. Or you can spend the money and buy the different expensive topsoil. But even the expensive topsoil by the end of the summer will run out of nutrients. What do you think about that, Scott? Are you with us?
Yeah, my philosophy on most of this stuff, I'm getting more into gardening, but I don't really know a whole lot. But I used to have a philosophy. I just tried to keep my grass on the brink of death and life so it wouldn't grow very fast, so I'd have to mow less.
Yeah, right. I understand. I've seen your lawn before, so just kidding. One thing that we're going to talk about now that may be something that concerns you is trimming shade trees. This is another thing that it's a good time of the year to do. Actually, I've found that trimming trees, you can pretty well do it year-round whenever you're feeling like it. But, as I drive around and I observe, there's a lot of trees that the city owns that's in the parking and in the different parking lots and the city parks are not trimmed correctly, and they start to turn up, and they turn up as a candelabra turns up, and then when they in every direction, and if you let them go, it's a solid jungle inside of that tree. So the way that I like to trim them is you've got the main trunk, and then you've got the area where these limbs, we call them the limbs, the major limbs come out, and they turn up at an angle and go on up. And, like a willow tree will form a ball, a round one. Ash tree is more cylindrical, and so on. But I like to clean off those major limbs for about 4 or 5 feet up. And I remove those because if you let those insect infestation and for circulation for mildews and rot in the tree, if you don't want limbs laying one on the other and rubbing, and you don't want a tree with limbs that go over your roof too close to your house, and you want the limb to turn upward and not grow out straight, especially if it's at the level where it's going to grow out straight and rub the side of your, yeah, they're not quite to the point that you need to trim them yet. Artie, we trimmed some of your trees. Have you got an opinion on that?
Oh my goodness, yes, night and day difference. It was overgrown and it looked horrible. And my lawn chair lady, neighbor, she was out there with her binoculars, and she actually
was sending messages.
Yeah, she was telling me that the tree limbs were actually getting in the way of her seeing into my living room.
Oh yeah.
So
you can't have that.
So she asked me to please trim down the trees, and you came over that power saw, and
his trees were overgrown right at the base of the tree.
Really bad, actually.
Yeah.
And it really got away from me. So.
And we, what did we do? We took 3-4 loads of limbs.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. And that was just one tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really overgrown. And so you had we had the little electric hacksaw thing, and then we had the big clipper things.
Right.
So.
And that what was that, an ash tree? I'm thinking it was.
It's
an ash tree. Yeah. And it was really to the point that it was unhealthy for the tree.
Now, why is that? I mean, why is it healthy to keep them trimmed like that?
You had insects down in there. You know, the insects will get in. You have all the debris, the leaves that fall down.
Yeah, it was a mess.
They don't fall to the ground. They fall down in the tree, and then they start to rot and mildew.
Okay. But no, I mean, I got a thank you card after I trimmed the trees from the lawn chair lady. So
really?
You can actually see right in the window. So.
I know the yard looks quite a bit better.
Oh, thanks to you and your help.
The other thing that we kind of did the same thing with some of your shrubs.
Yeah.
And the ones around the other side of the house, they were a shrub that we haven't talked about a lot, but they were a Celeste bush shrub.
Oh, yeah. The gray ones, the gray colored ones? Or the...
Yeah. And those are actually really nice. They get a purple spire on them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And they needed to be trimmed really bad. They were overgrown.
And Woody's been a very, very incredible person to give me advice and give me some pointers.
And he hasn't received the bill yet, or he wouldn't be saying that.
Hey, I paid you. Oh, I paid you in caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. When Artie gives you a 12-pack of Diet Coke, to him it's worth $1,000.
Something like that.
Yeah, to me it's not quite that high.
Okay.
So anyway,
I'll pay in cats. You know I hoard cats.
I know. Scott, do you need any cats up where you are?
That is definitely something I don't need.
Oh, come on, Scott. 3 or 4 in your house would be just right.
What can we do to get you into a new model of a cat today? We've got furry models, long hair models, short hair models.
We've got striped ones. We've got
lots of models.
Yellow ones. We've got gold ones.
We have 2
black ones.
We have 2005 models, 2017s, 2019. Lots of 2019 models.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to gardening.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah. So, anyway, that's the thing about trimming trees. Now, of course, trimming fruit trees and so on, that's quite a bit different. But if we have some interest on that, maybe you could put on the question on the website and we could go into that next week. But and also, I think, Artie, we did the plant food after we trimmed them, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that you want to make sure of, especially when it's overgrown like his was, that your sprinkler bubbler and that at the bottom of the tree doesn't get damaged or so on by the growth or the trimming or so on, and that it's still taking care of the tree for you. Yeah. And watering a tree that size is kind of like we were talking with Scott, is kind of a guess. What does it need? 15 minutes once a week, 10 minutes twice a week. That's the part that bothers me about the conventional sprinkler control systems, is that they don't give you any guidance that way. You're basically guessing.
Well, can't you run a bubbler or whatever out to the trees and then do a timer on those?
You can, okay. Yeah, but still knowing how much water it takes.
Oh, okay.
See, well, if it starts to dry out and doesn't look good, you increase the water. Okay. I guess that's about, that's the trial and error kind of thing that we've used in the past. So it was kind of like pronouncing that word last week. It was trial and error. So Scott is dealing with a different climate up there than we are down here. Your flower beds and that looked really good last week, Scott, when I was up there. You take care of the flower beds, right? Did we lose him?
I'm still here.
Are you? You take care of the flower beds. You don't have your wife out there doing the flower beds, do you?
Oh no, it's all Brooke. It's all Brooke. I have nothing to do with flowers.
Oh, it's your wife that does. Well, when did I plant them? 2 years ago.
Oh, pretty good.
I harvested them yesterday.
Did you? Really good.
Yeah. We might have to stop on the west side of your house.
Yeah,
right? In the sun.
If I could have this new one that you're talking about, where I could use the app, that would be even more exciting.
My fingers are too big to use it on the phone.
My fingers are too greasy. I'm